So you can not only optimize for distance, but also for penetration. That's a thing I built up. It's actually based on a toy. That part is a toy, that part is Yagi. Well, I have it here, actually. Looks quite funny, and was the reason I couldn't get here by plane. So I drove like 7 hours just because of this, anyways. So the parabola is metallized. I used zinc spray. Well, it's definitely not the best method to actually have a clean surface to reflect the stuff, but it worked out pretty well. Actually, I just made it as a joke to see if it works, and it actually worked because, yeah, I had the occasion to test it at a bank, and the problem was not discovering devices in the bank, but I found devices in the bank behind that bank. So I had to go around the bank to actually exclude the other devices. Well, it has a USB cable over here. You have what's that called? A zoom, yeah. You have a 10x zoom here, which can compensate for eye vision problems. The only thing I'd like to add is like a laser pointer, because at these distances, every millimeter actually counts. So that's Kevin implementation of the parabola idea. But he went a bit further. He actually used an NSLU, which is a Linksys storage device, which I thought I had here, but I don't have. It runs Linux, so he installed his own attack tool. It can attack automatically. It's completely autonomous. He can actually have it at some place, and it will collect, scan, and if he wants also attack every device it finds, it saves the results for later usage. What's funny is that at the beginning this part was solitary, and he wanted to actually hide it within a rock, so you could plant a rock somewhere or whatever, a Coca-Cola bottle, and that bottle will attack and collect all your stuff. So Perimeter Watch, that's again something from Kevin, which by the way really did a lot for this talk. So I'm not the only one doing this. I'm presenting it, but a lot of work was done by Kevin. So it's a Perl script by Kevin Finisterre. It searches for Bluetooth devices. Once it finds some device, it takes a 360-degree picture and saves down the GPS coordinates. So you can download that to his website, which is digitalmunition.com. So let's go to the implementation bugs. Bypassing security. That's that's Belgium. So we have remotely controlling workstations, car whisperer, NG, owning internal networks, link theft, abuse, overflows. So did you know the Bluetooth pin is actually a Bluetooth passkey? It isn't not necessarily a digit, but actually nobody really implemented the specification, because you, instead of just entering this, you could enter this. And it's kind of awesome, because that's like inventing NTLM and just implementing it with digits, which is kind of absurd, because you can increment very, very fast to all digits, but you can't increment through all the UTF-8 space pretty fast. If the vendors would have implemented this, my BTCrack tool would take a long time, but they didn't. The reason why is probably because not every input device has characters. But come on, I mean, you write SMS with your mobile phone. Why don't you implement this? Why do you take digits? It doesn't really make sense. And the specification, it's there. It says use it, but they really don't. So, Car Whisperer by Martin Herford. It's actually You know it well. You can listen and record conversations. You can eavesdrop on headsets, hand-free kits, but it works also against workstations. And that's kind of interesting. Actually, Whitcomb, that's Windows, below 4.01 or 1500, there was no pin code, and you could actually listen to the conversation, and also, like with the car, you could inject audio. For this to work, you have just to remove the class ID check or change the class ID check within the CV scanner script for it to also try to connect to laptops. Kevin, in fact, also did a real-time patch for it. And now you can take your mic and actually talk in real time instead of playing a pre-recorded WAV file. You can download that too on digitalmunition.com. So, hit attack, owning Bluetooth VNC style. That's by Colin Mulliner, who is here today and who allowed me to publish this. That's kind of O-Day, and you can get it here. That's one reason I said, please disable your Bluetooth. HID is actually a human interface device. It requires two PSM endpoints to act as a server. There are two implementations. The keyboard connects to the HID server, or the HID server connects to the keyboard. The funny thing is, they don't necessarily authenticate these connections. So you actually below BLU's 2.25, and you had to hit daemon running, you could connect to it and actually type at the keyword just like you were in front of the PC and actually control it remotely. Of course, you don't necessarily see the PC, but you can inject on pretty much everything. You can open a shell and inject commands or whatever. So yeah, thanks Colin for letting me releasing this. It's actually a bit more complicated than this. Within it attack, you'll get all the info and stuff to do this. So that's quite interesting because I haven't really checked on Windows. Neither has Colin, as far as I know. So maybe there are Toshiba, Whitcomb, or whatever implementations that are also vulnerable. So try it out. So, to the demo. Trying to show you how to own internal networks over Bluetooth. Actually, OS X 10.3 was vulnerable. OS X 10.4 was vulnerable, the vanilla release. Windows was vulnerable. The Whitcomb implementation, the Toshiba implementation, the BlueSoil implementation, and maybe others. And the Pocket PC was vulnerable to the same attack. Well, Kevin told them that he had this issue in an OBEX FTP server, that it's non-authenticated, so everybody can connect to it as soon as you plug in a Bluetooth device. They had kind of the OS 10.4 master CD just ready to be pressed or burned down, so to be shipped off. So they couldn't fix it. So they fixed it in 10.3.9 before fixing it in 10.4, leaving those vulnerable for over a month to a rather very simplistic, as you will see, very simplistic and very frightening bug. What's important is, of course, that's patched, and that's patched for like a long time. That's patched for over a year. So the reason why we'll show this demo is not because the actual bug is that interesting, but because pity to raise awareness. You can be owned over Bluetooth. It's not only for toys. Your workstation can be hijacked. Pretty everything that works over Bluetooth. And of course, to ask the question why some operation system vendors don't test their stuff, because there's things like SDL, Secure Development Lifecycle, and I don't think that a directory traversal exploit in an FTP server is that difficult to find. The cause practically is that the usual OBEX FTP implementations, the tools you run on your box, actually filtered out these commands. So in order to find this, Kevin had to just patch it to actually allow .. So, and that's everything, except of course BTFTP, which is in the blue CVS version, which doesn't check for this. The combination of this exploit is pretty interesting too. So there's an OBEX FTP server directory traversal. That's Kevin stuff. Kevin then plants a malicious input manager, launches a local remote exploit, binds the etc. TTYs to RFCOM, and we get a shell. What's interesting is that this is not only possible. It was not only possible on Mac, but it was possible on Windows, Pocket PC, and pretty everything that has a Toshiba Broadcom, which is now Whitcomb, stack. Probably most others too. There are not much left. I don't know any there. Bluesoil is still there. I don't know about Bluesoil. But we choose a Mac just to show that Macs are not invulnerable, and basically you can own internal networks over Bluetooth. So, over to the demo. Can you please swap over to this PC? Oh. Yeah, rude. It's a box I set up in 2 days. I don't give a fuck. You can own it. Oh, jeez. So I'll just plug in the Bluetooth devices. Of course, if the Mac comes with a Bluetooth device built in, it works too. So, yep, seems to work. Oh, Jesus, I don't see anything on the screen. So I activated actually the device. I will run the demo and show you the script afterwards. How is this done? It's quite interesting to see. I just launch it and hope that it works. Because sometimes it just core dumps when you connect to it. When you launch too many RFCOM connections to a single port, it tends to core dump. So here's the directory traversal going on. He plants the input manager, he plants the local root exploit. Interesting to know is that it uses the Bluetooth address name, the Bluetooth name, to actually find the user directory name, which is Thierry in this case. So
I am a Mac. I am a PC. We both suck.
So now it's going to reboot. That's on 10.3.9. On 10.4, you don't see anything. It won't reboot. You have a shell immediately. What's interesting is that due to the input manager, which Apple calls method swizzling, which is actually like, if you know the Windows world, like app init, which you can use to inject the DLL into a process. It's actually similar, just that Apple chose to implement it globally and not only based on a single process. So if you have an input manager, and as soon as any binary is launched, the input manager launches too. And that's practically the auto-start vector Kevin used. And that's basically why we disconnect and then we reconnect. Because when we disconnect, the input manager is planted, the OBEX server closes, and when we reconnect, the OBEX server launches and launches the input manager, which launches the local root exploit, which actually changes etc. TTYs. So without Apple implementing that global input manager thing, that input manager feature, that wouldn't work out. So let's see. We should have a shell here. If it came back, I don't know. Well, I'll just show you. Oops. Ah, jeez. So that's basically how it feels. That's here it gets my home dir. It extracts Thierry Zoller from from the input. There you see it. It's a plain, obvious